I really want to go home because they're my friends. I really worried because I don't know where they are.
The hardest part to understand that we are now safe here and our friends and family are not safe.
We are bombed every day, every night, and non-stop. Enjoy what you have. Enjoy peace. It's really valuable. Don't take for granted what you have now because it's so vulnerable.
Just a few of the interviews that our colleagues have collected, a few of the stories from the now more than 2 million Ukrainians who have been forced to flee their homes in a refugee crisis that grows more dire and extreme by the hour. More than 1 million of those 2 million refugees are children, like this little girl. The UN now projects that 4 million refugees, as an estimate, was conservative. Let's bring into our conversation Democratic Congressman from Virginia, Gerry Connolly. He's a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. He just returned from a trip to the Polish border. Congressman, you cannot watch those human exhibits of trauma and grief and not ask the question all Ukrainians are asking, can we not do more? And I wonder, when people asked you that question as a representative from this country, what you said.
Well, yeah, the answer simply is, of course, yes, we can, and we are. But, you know, dealing with the humanitarian crisis, I mean, there is no answer to looking at a child's face and trying to explain why he or she can't go home, why they can't see their friends, why something tragic happened in their household, why somebody's attacking them suddenly. And as that woman said, you know, don't take it for granted. It's valuable and it can go away, sadly, overnight, like it has for Ukrainians. So, yeah, we were there. We met with many of these refugees. It's heartrending to see children victimized by the actions of a delusional malignancy in Kremlin, Vladimir Putin, for no reason other than there are people who want to be free. They don't want to be under anyone else's yoke. To make victims of children and innocent families, it just rends the heart, Nicole, and it's very difficult to talk about, frankly.
The president has rallied a coalition and a severity of sanctions that exceeded anyone's expectations just a few weeks ago, today announcing a complete ban on Russian oil imports. At every turn, when we put to the administration, is there more you can do? The answer is yes, and within hours or days, they do more. Can you tell us what else we can do on that front?
So on the military front, obviously on the humanitarian front, we have to do everything we can, and we, I think, are stepping up to that plate in a big way, along with our allies, and especially, by the way, with the Polish people. They deserve a lot of credit for their response to an overwhelming refugee crisis that's only 12 days old, with millions of refugees. But on the military front, we need to help resupply the Ukrainians with especially anti-aircraft, anti-missile capabilities, and that may mean bringing in MiG fighter planes from the old Soviet era for Ukrainian pilots to fly. That may mean SAM missile batteries to take on Russian missiles. And more high-flying aircraft. We are providing Stingers, and they're great for lower-flying aircraft and helicopters. But some of the higher combat jets that are dropping munitions from 30,000 feet or something, we need a different kind of missile set for that, and we've got them. We need to get drones in there, and so we're trying to increase the number of drones, including Turkish drones, so that the Ukrainians can deal with long convoys of Russian vehicles attempting to attack and occupy cities like Kyiv. So we are stepping up. I visited with the 82nd Airborne when I was in Poland near the border, and I'm quite convinced that our NATO allies are doing what they can, and we are doing what we can to facilitate large transfers of military equipment to the Ukrainian forces.
What is your understanding, or what is the latest briefing you've received that you could share with us on Putin's state of mind and what he intends for Ukraine?
When somebody initiates this kind of horror, it is so inhuman and so repulsive to any kind of instincts that are decent. We readily ascribe to that person, maybe they're deranged, maybe they're crazy. No sane, caring person would do this. I think he's, I don't think he has the warmth of human kindness in his bloodstream, but I don't know that he's deranged or crazy. I think that he is delusional. I think he's got this Russo-centric, delusional view of the world that allows him to say Ukraine's not a sovereign state. We have territorial rights to our neighboring countries that we at any time can exercise. Nobody should have anything to say about that but us. And if the means to that end requires us to kill innocent civilians and rain terror on their urban areas and kill children and bomb cancer hospitals, so be it. That's necessary part of the enterprise. Hard to imagine a sane person buying into that, but if you understand his mindset and set of grievances that are very consistent over the years, you can see how that kind of thinking led him to this kind of decision. Wrong though it is, tragic as it is, and frankly, I think miscalculated as it is on his part.
Congressman, much has been written in the New York Times and other places about the role that propaganda is playing in propping up support for Vladimir Putin in country, and that the crackdown and the new law passed on Friday to imprison anyone that broadcasts what they describe as fake news, which is actually the real news. Everything that's up is down and down is up. I wonder what the national security imperative is, in your view, to get the truth to the Russian people.
That's a great point, Nicole. I think it's imperative to do that because otherwise Russian families are going to be supportive of a horror they otherwise would not be supportive of. They're the ones sending their 18 and 19-year-old sons into combat in Ukraine. And the only way right now they really know what's happening is when one of those sons, is captured and calls home, because the Ukrainians facilitate that. Or they get on, an internet set up by Ukraine so they can inquire as to the status of their loved ones who were put into the Ukrainian theater. That's tragic. So, yeah, we have to make it a top priority to penetrate the news blackout in Russia so that the average Russian knows what their government is doing and knows what the costs of it are. We already have had thousands of Russian casualties, and at a rate that it far exceeds what happened to them in Afghanistan. They were there for 10 years, and we're only on day 12. So it is costing Russia in lives as well as, of course, economic sanctions. And we need to make sure that Russians understand why.